Another interesting part of the transparadigmatic approach is that there's a process of trying to discover the commonalities between paradigms that point to an ideal way of doing psychotherapy in some broader sense. So like one of the most important things in one of the approaches that I like is helping the client mentalize, which is to express what they're thinking. And it seems pretty straightforward, but all psychotherapy should be just starting with at least mentalizing. And it seems obvious in some way, like, oh yeah, well, if I'm doing therapy, I'm talking about what's going on in my head. But it's not always as straightforward as actually trying to get to the actual thing that's coming up. And the honesty there, even with the psychotherapist, being honest, mentalizing in a way that lets the client know what they're thinking and how they're receiving and experiencing that client. And I think that same generalizing and trying to find the kind of core is happening in other areas. Like I love Joseph Campbell for his approach to the monomyth. It's interesting because that's also very much influenced by Jung. And there's a psychological element to what is it about stories that move us and what is it about stories that draw us in.
And actually, sort of to build on the thing you're saying about mentalizing, like a big part of what at least my experience of being in therapy, if not so much helping people, although I do that as well, but is that, after you get sort of conceptual clarity and some kind of traction on your experiences and you're able to sort of articulate them to yourself, what I find is then often the focus of the therapy is working towards a kind of narrativization that sort of encapsulates your experiences in a way that makes sense to you. And that a lot of what working through trauma and grief and negative emotions amounts to is being able to tell yourself a story that summarizes those emotions so you don't have to go over them every time you want to talk about it.